Mortgage rates have now fallen to their lowest level in more than 3 years, and industry experts hope that it will help break the stalemate that has kept reluctant sellers from selling and would-be buyers from buying. CNN's Vanessa Yurkevich is with us now on this. All right, Vanessa, how low are we talking?
Yeah, we're talking about the lowest level in more than 3 years. So the average rate for a mortgage, according to Freddie Mac this week, 6.06%. That is down significantly from a year ago when mortgage rates were above 7%. And if you look at this line chart on your screen right now, you can see, hopefully, that we're exactly where we were 3 years ago. The left-hand side of your screen in January of 2023 and the right-hand side of your screen in January of 2026. That's encouraging news for home buyers, prospective home buyers who may have been waiting for mortgage rates to fall back closer to that 6% level. Why this is happening? Well, it could be pointing to the fact that President Trump did direct the purchase of $200 billion of mortgage bonds, and that was designed to lower rates. So some experts saying that is why we're seeing these lower rates today. Real estate agents and experts, as you say, are hoping that this starts to actually move the market. Sellers willing to sell and buyers willing to get into the market. But what is this going to mean for everyday Americans who may be thinking about buying a home? Well, if you're buying a home, let's say $450,000, you're going to do a 30-year fixed mortgage. You're going to put 20% down. Well, a year ago, you were going to pay a monthly payment of about $2,400. Now this year, January 2026, you're looking closer to $2,100, $2,200. That's a savings of $230 a month, and that is significant if you're looking to spend money on other things like groceries or a car payment. And certainly for folks who have been wondering if this is doing anything for the market at all, well, in the month of December, existing home sales actually rose by 5.1% compared to November. So you can see people starting to get off the sidelines. But Brianna, look at this. Median existing home sales still rising. $405,400 is the average home price in the month of December. That means that it's now 30 consecutive months of year-over-year price increases. So mortgage rates falling, but those housing prices still starting to creep up a little bit. Of course, Brianna, maybe that's the offset. Mortgage rates are falling, so people are more willing to get into the housing market and spend a little bit more.
Duh. Does she not understand what she just said? She just said more people are buying. She just said that money was cheaper. She just said that the prices keep going up. Well, if the money is cheaper and people want to buy, then ergo the market is stronger and prices go up. I think you learned that in high school, maybe sophomore year. It's called something weird called supply and demand. I know it seems like the media and a lot of people on the left and some on the right do not understand supply and demand. They think there's going to be some sort of magic button that's going to cause everything to come down. We're going to talk about money tonight for the first little bit of the show. We got a lot of money talk coming. So if you don't want to listen to it, now might be the time to, exit, because we're going to be talking some money. In the interim, want to tell you about this. Our sponsor tonight is Patriot Addict, and they're offering this big, giant, warm blanket, the Donald Trump blanket. You can get this. Now, I'm going to tell you the price, but you're probably not going to believe me. For this giant, warm blanket, which, by the way, you need if you're in South Florida, because it's all the way down to like 59 degrees down here. I heard it snowed up in North Florida, but we're not that bad. At least it makes the dogs come in quicker because it's cold as far as we're concerned, but it'll be warmer tomorrow. But anyway, you can get this for the price of free. Free. That means nothing. Zero. All you got to do is pay shipping. All you got to do is go right there and go to berryblanket.com. You go to berryblanket.com, you can get this giant, I would say close to 6-foot blanket. It's warm. It's big. I use it when I take the dogs outside. It's great. And it's, did I say it's free? I think I said it's free. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said it's free. So you guys can go to berryblanket.com, pick that up for free, just pay the shipping, and it's yours. Let's get to the show.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday night edition of the show. Normally, I only do 2 shows, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But with Robin being out of town, I might do 2 shows tomorrow. Not really sure. Maybe do 2 shows on Saturday. Maybe do 2 shows on Sunday. We shall see. At least we'll be doing, at least for the next 3 days, 1 show per day. Because other than playing with the dogs and it being cold outside, I might as well do a show. So I was telling you, we're going to be talking a lot about winning tonight. We're going to be talking about money, winning with money. We're going to talk about winning in sports. President Trump had the world champion, NHL champion, Florida Panthers at the White House today. Then I got a montage of different things for you. And then it seems as though everything is working tonight. Then I will jump over to Rumble and I will show you the newest Nick Shirley video in its entirety. It's like 51 minutes and we'll do that. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so I want to talk to you about money. We just heard about the housing market. I talked to you a little bit about it earlier this afternoon when I saw the initial data. And I realized as I was talking to some of you people, and some of you guys even emailed me, not many people talk about the wins. They like the trendy stuff, the Minnesota, the Clintons, all that kind of crap, but nobody really talks about what's happening. Which means you don't hear it. Which is insane because it's so huge. I don't see how you don't hear it. And I don't understand how you don't want to hear it. Housing, boom, doing exactly what he wanted it to do. Exactly what he wanted to do. Money markets, silver, gold, everything else. It is working. The Trump strategy, and we're only in January, is looking like the rocket ship he told us he was going to put us on. And a lot of people aren't talking about it. I sat after dinner and just went through NBC, no, what do you call it? MSNBC, CNN, Fox. And I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? Do you know what happened today? Let me preface it with that. As I look in the chat, I'd love for you guys to tell me if you know the big news financially of the day. Monstrous, huge financial news today. And did you even hear it? President Trump was recognizing how big of a day it was. President Trump posted on Truth Social, said this: great financial numbers were released today. Our country has never done better. So many people ask me the reason for this, and I tell them in just one word: tariffs. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars with virtually no inflation, and our national security has never been as strong as it is today. God bless the USA. And I bet many people were like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't have any idea what this man is alluding to, because nobody is actually talking about it. You know, I said, put it in the chat if you know, and I'm seeing a lot of people like, nope, don't know. Well, if you don't know what happened today, take a seat, and you're going to see Mr. Howard Lutnick talk about tariffs, and what happened today is going to blow your mind, especially if you haven't heard it. But before then, let's listen to Kevin Hassett.
Davos, we know there's the big housing speech. What else can we anticipate?
There's also going to be some look at the New World Order that President Trump.
What? What did you just say? Did I just hear it? Did he just say New World Order? Do you realize the people who run this place don't even like you saying those words? You can't put that in a title. It's a no-go. Don't say those words. Try it. Try to put NWO, the words you just heard, in a title of a YouTube video and see what happens. It terrifies people. And Kevin just said, it's what we're going to be doing. Some people asked earlier, why in the hell would President Trump be going over to Davos? He just told you. He's not going over there to negotiate. He's not going over there to beg. He's going over there to let them know you're going to have to pay up. He's going over there to make a demand, because now we have a new something, like he just said.
Is creating. And, a lot of countries that were, whining about tariffs 6 months ago and saying that President Trump was going to harm their economies had pretty good years. And I think it's in part because people recognize that President Trump has made it so that we are the shining city on the hill again. We are the engine of global economic growth because the U.S. is really that strong again.
Yeah, and I think
right. Well, the economy is booming. It's really astonishing, right? So if you look at the last 3 quarters, it's 4% growth, and now we're looking at something like 5% growth. And the 5% growth is 1.5% lower than the real number because of the government shutdown. And
all right. So let me stop there. He talked really fast. You get 3%, 4%, 5%, probably 6%. We're in a new frontier. Those are numbers that people in the economy and money, you've never heard people discuss those kind of numbers. And they're just bandying about, yeah, we should be at 6. If it weren't for the fact that the Democrats shut the economy down, we would probably be at 6, which is, I don't know if it's ever happened. His grandson had a birthday party tonight, so he can't look it up. But if anybody wants to look up, when was the GDP last at 6%? See if there's an answer for that. Can you give me the date when the GDP was last at about 6%? And they're smiling about it and just dropping it like it's no big deal.
So we're seeing numbers like we saw right at the beginning of the Reagan administration, a little bit during the dot-com years, but there have been very, very few times in American economic history where things were as strong as they are. And I think that the reason is that President Trump's policies have really, really helped. So if you look at the big, beautiful bill, that we've got expensing, we've got no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. I think that the other thing that's happening is that the artificial intelligence boom is making productivity go up for firms all around the country. And we saw, like, the latest productivity numbers are showing something like 4.5% productivity gains. That 4.5 goes right into GDP, right? And so that's, I think that's where the boom comes from. I don't think it's really about the Fed, which is basically the interest rates right now at the Fed are quite a bit higher than they are in most other countries.
All right, so let me tell you, in case you don't know, I went and looked it up for you. Let me see if I can put it in the right window. All right, so I asked, just Google Gemini, when was the last time the United States GDP was 6%? And here's the information. The U.S. GDP growth rate has exceeded 6% in several periods. Notably, 1962. I was still waddling around pooping in my pants. I was like Maduro and Venezuelans. I was just dropping loads. 1962. When was America great again? I think we can measure it right now. 1962, the GDP was 6%. No wonder I was born. No wonder my parents were like, hey, let's have kids. Let's buy a house. Let's start a business. GDP was 6.2%. Most of you here, unless you're a lot older than me, you have no idea, ever seen it before. Never. And if you're older than me, you probably weren't working yet, because if you were like 20, that means you were like 80, 85, or 86 watching this show, which I salute you if you're 86 watching this show. But in any event, the GDP, where's my mouse? GDP back in 1962 was 6.1. 1965, 6.4. 1966, 6.5. And more recently in 2021, around 6.6, and during the post-pandemic, it went to 6.5. But there were some little different manipulations in there. If you remember, they started giving out money. It wasn't a real economy. So they spiked the football there to make the numbers look great. If you go down further and you can actually see what actually they put something on here, and it says context matters. Annual versus quarterly. A 6% annual growth is a sustained period, while a 6% annualized quarterly rate reflects a strong burst, because we had a strong burst coming out of you know what. However, and it was bigger before, the jabademic. So this is uncharted territory, and this is something that even you can, I don't mean that talking down to anybody, even you can profit from, if you know what to look at. 6%. I don't have my Back to the Future GIF here, because I was like 0.7 gigawatts. This is amazing. All kidding aside, we are doing things, and President Trump is doing things with this economy that you guys just have never seen. And it's in the first year. He came after an election. He got in office. The Democrats have been fighting him tooth and nails. Some Republicans are fighting him tooth and nails. The Panicans are fighting him tooth and nails. They're out there making as many videos as they possibly can saying how things suck. And they're only able to do that and get the clicks because they don't tell you what's really going on. So, of course, it's going to seem like things are bad. But they're not. Now I'm going to show you something that, just ready, hang on to your hat here.
Let's get more now on that and much more. Joining us now is the man who negotiated this deal. Howard Lutnick is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Secretary Lutnick, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the deal. It certainly is a big one. You might have heard some of the news that Christina and Kelly and I were just discussing. As part of this deal, have you gotten commitments from Taiwan Semiconductor, the company, that they will expand that already expanding facility that you and I sat down in 6 months ago?
So before he talks about it, anybody know what the deal was with Taiwan that they closed? Anybody have you heard it anywhere about this deal that happened today that got announced? Everyone's chasing the crazies out there in snowbound Minnesota, making asses of themselves. Anybody talking about this deal? Well, you're about to hear about it.
Exactly. So they just bought hundreds of acres adjacent to their property. Now, I'm going to let them go through it with their board and give them time. But of the $250 billion of commitment that is directly from companies. So basically.
Do you hear that? But that's not all. He's softening and letting you, he's describing the deal. And the first thing he's talking about is 250 billion with a B. 250 billion. But he's not done. He's not done.
There's two commitments from Taiwan. There's 250 billion that comes directly from companies, and then there's 250 billion supplied by the government to help their smaller and medium-sized companies all and bring that whole supply chain to America. So
in case you're challenged in math, he just talked about a $500 billion deal that they did today. 500 billion. And we're looking at people running around in the snow and F ice. If we're focused on the wrong things, we miss the good stuff. We miss dinner. We're over there playing with hors d'oeuvres and Twinkies and we're getting steak served up to us. I don't eat steak. Lobster. We're getting lobster served up to us. $500 billion on top of all the other deals that they've been putting together.
Going to bring it all over so we become self-sufficient in the capacity of building semiconductors. This is exactly what Donald Trump said he was going to do, and he's doing it today. 250 billion and 250 billion. This is the kind of scale that Donald Trump operates in.
So it sounds like the number, I'm not a math whiz like you probably are, Mr. Secretary, but that's $500 billion.
I had to state it too because it sounds otherworldly. Yeah, 500 billion, huh? Yep, 500 billion. Let's say it a different way. $500 billion. $500 billion in one day. No wonder Donald Trump's posting, hey, things are looking great. You don't know about it because you're watching other stuff.
I know a lot of that obviously is going to go to this Arizona facility that Christina and I were talking about. You've been to, obviously, we were together. Do you expect there will be other investments in the United States made as part of that 250 plus 250?
So what we did is we gave Taiwan $100 billion credit because TSMC came in with that $100 billion in 2025 with the Trump administration. So that's 100 towards the 250. Now I expect TSMC to come in huge, bigger. You've seen reports that possibly doubling in size in America, right? So that's TSMC. But then we have the rest of the supply chain of semiconductors, everything. You have to remember, like, each chip has a translator in it, right? What connects the power to the chip? What connects the chip to what you see on your screen, right? All those bits and parts, they all need to come here. And so we're going to have hundreds of companies coming here. We're going to build giant semiconductor industrial parks in America, and we are going to bring semiconductors home to America.
All right, so there's something that you have to look at below the surface here. You know the conflict over there between Taiwan and China. And China had made rumbles that they were going to, invade and take over Taiwan. Everybody's been talking about that for a long time. What do you think Taiwan just bought? If Taiwan's bringing in $500 billion into America, you can pretty much count on the fact that we will now be protecting Taiwan. So if you look at it underneath, it's like, oh, I see what you just did. You just put a big old checkmate over that whole Taiwan thingy. China, you're done. You can't come here. We just signed a deal for $500 billion. That is an ultimate checkmate against China. Right in their own backyard. Hey, we're working with these guys. You can't have them. You cannot invade them. And so now we get the money, we get the jobs, and all we got to do is protect them.
That's what this is. This is a $500 billion down payment on let's bring those semiconductors home.
So let's talk about what Taiwan gets. So we're getting this investment. We're getting a commitment from not only Taiwan Semi and their companies, but to your point, the Taiwanese government itself. So both are making agreements. It sounds like what they're getting is a reduction of that reciprocal tariff rate, 20% to 15%. In some cases, if it's an aircraft part, if it's certain generic drugs, that goes to zero. Is that the win that Taiwan will get and want to promote in their nation, and we get the investment in semiconductors, and to your point, Mr. Secretary, this expected build out, not just in Arizona, but across the country?
So it's a couple of fold. Exactly what you've said. They go from 20% to 15%. They get generic pharmaceuticals, airplane parts, things that, we're very accommodating for because we want those things to come in tariff-free. Unavailable natural resources, to the extent they grow something that we don't grow here, that won't come with a tariff. But then there's semiconductors. It goes like this. If they commit to build in America, they can bring in their semiconductors during the time that they're building in America without a tariff. That is special for them. Right? They can build here. If we, at the Department of Commerce, if we approve their plan, they can then bring in semiconductors of 2.5 times that amount. So
slow down. All right. So they're talking about a compound deal. Initially, it's $500 billion. And it has a little bit of $100 billion credit because they already put in 100. So it's an additional $400 billion. And the words he used is a down payment, a $400 billion down payment. Now, all those products that he's going to be, they're going to be building here. What do those mean? That means jobs. That means wealth. That means money in these areas for the people who can do the work. If you can't do the work, then you're still going to be out there throwing snowballs around in Minnesota. But in any event, this has the capacity to be life-changing for a lot of people. You can't work in a semiconductor company and be a slug. You got to know what you're talking about. We're probably talking 6-figure jobs here. And it's not the same as a data center, which doesn't have the same volume of jobs. This is much bigger. So now you know that this is coming. I haven't seen where the plants are going to be, but all these things have to break ground. And as they break ground, that's more jobs and more jobs available for people who aren't not from here. All of these projects, including the data centers, are going to have to be manned and staffed by Americans. And nobody's talking about it. No, I mean, literally, people aren't even paying any attention to this.
Build 1 million, let's say, wafers. They can bring in 2.5 million wafers while they're building in America. Likely to be 100%.
Well, that's a good carrot. Hey, if you do it here, you're going to be able to make money. If you don't do it here, we're going to hit you hard. And then China's probably going to take you over. Oh, we don't want that. We'll do it there. And you got to do it while he's president. Don't give us no deal where you're going to do it in 10, 12 years. No, you got to do it now, which is why that's also huge. It's not a forecasted money. It's an actual investment that has to be brought in right now.
If they don't build here, the tariff is likely to be 100%. So there's sort of the stick, not the carrot. In the room, the negotiations, which you literally just left, Mr. Secretary, is there any acknowledgement or discussion by Taiwan? I'm sure it's come up on our end, but on their end, because the country across the sea, we'll call them Chinese Taipei, of security issues that they recognize. It's helpful for everybody to have a less concentrated semiconductor industry in their nation, given some of the aggressive tactics we have seen around China?
Exactly. Look, they need to keep our president happy. right? Because our president is.
When I hear the deals that these guys cut, I swear it's like watching The Godfather. Hey, you're gonna keep me happy. You gotta give me something here. Yeah, give me 500 billion. I need 500 billion. I'll make sure nobody messes with you. Nobody. You're good. We got you. And they just kind of laugh it off. Yeah, just make sure you get it done. Do what you said you're gonna do. You won't get hurt. We'll all make money. Everybody will be good. It's like watching a mafia movie.
The key to protecting their country. So they need to make them happy. So if you say, why would they do this? What? I mean, that is a gigantic commitment to onshoring in America. And the answer is because Donald Trump is vital to protecting them.
It took a while to get there. I figured it out at the beginning. I'm like, oh, so they're paying protection money is what you're saying. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They weren't getting shaken down or anything. They're going to get something very valuable. You ain't going to have to worry about the guys over there trying to come over to your country because now we're here. Let them know. Just let them know Donnie sent you. And now they're able to prosper as a country because they don't have to worry about getting invaded by China. I mean, if you've never seen the Godfather movies and understand the entire of the protection racket, and then you think to yourself, well, Donald Trump's from New York, and he probably knows exactly how this goes, but I got to make sure I don't break any laws because they'll impeach me. What can we do? Well, here's what we're going to do. You're going to bring all that over here. You're going to pay us $500 billion, and we'll make sure you don't get blowed up. How about that? Sounds like a good deal. Yeah, okay, let's eat. That deal right there was, and it took him 8 minutes to get to it. Yeah, of course it's protection. And I'm surprised the guy from CNBC didn't just come out with that. Is this protection money? Yeah, pretty much so.
So they want to keep our president happy, right? They want to keep the relationship between our two countries very positive, and this commitment to bring it onshore. We need semiconductors for our national security. We need them built in America. We can't rely on a country that's 9,000 miles away from us to deliver us these kind of fundamental national security products.
Yeah.
So we're bringing it here. This is what Donald Trump promised. And this is exactly what we're focused on delivering.
Mr. Secretary, it's Kelly here. I appreciate, if you don't mind, I jump in. I can't help but think while you announce this, what China must be thinking, not just with this Taiwan announcement, but also the 25% tariff on any country that's doing business with Iran, the way in which the Venezuela oil supply, perhaps that they had been counting on as repayment for loans, is now being rerouted.
So I want you to understand this. In the past, most countries flex their muscle with bombs and all kinds of things. President Trump had the foresight and perspective to realize you can't exist without our market. There's no other market in the world that you guys can make money. This is it. We need American dollars. We need the American consumer. And he realized the American consumer is a much more effective weapon. And I'm saying that with all understanding what I'm saying. Yes, people talking about weaponized justice. We're talking about weaponized economy. We're talking about a weaponized consumer. You want to do business with us? You want to be able to sit at this table? Here's what it's going to cost you. And that's why everyone's freaking out about the tariffs, because number one, no one's ever done it. Don't know why. Because our biggest asset to other countries is protection and consumers. We buy everything. Look around your house. We buy everything. Other people are living in dirt huts sometimes, but we buy everything. From looking at where my feet are, from the carpet to the table to the ceiling and everything in between, we buy that. And so somebody has to supply all of this. And if you want to supply this or that, you got to play ball. So you, as a consumer, you now have to, think the same way. You're going to see some people from the hockey team. Now, perfect timing, because understanding where that puck is going is what you need to do. Not sure how old you are, not sure where you are in life, but if you know all this is happened, What do you do? Maybe tell your grandkids, maybe tell your kids, hey, you might want to start looking about some AI. How many times we've been talking about AI since I've been doing this show? I keep telling you, start learning it. Doesn't matter what age group you are, you can begin learning prompts and understanding. You can be a prompt engineer. There's a job that was never there before, and it has no age requirement. There is no barrier to entry other than your knowledge. When else have you ever had that opportunity to do that kind of job, to make that kind of money with nobody telling you you're not qualified? The only thing keeping you from being qualified is you getting yourself up to speed. I know there's a lot of people who have a problem with AI. They don't like AI and things of that nature. You don't have a choice. If you don't get up to speed, if you don't get your grandkids up to speed, you're done. It's that simple. The Trump train is passing you right by. You can be retired and learn how to use and profit from AI. And he's telling you that. All of this stuff has to be put together. And you don't have to have great physical prowess. You don't have to have anything other than a mind and, these things to type.
Words. If they interpret this as a bold move against them, what would you say about that? Is that part of the intention, and what are we prepared for in response?
No, this move is really what Donald Trump ran on and what he's delivering, which is we need to reshore semiconductors. This will bring hundreds of thousands of great jobs to America, and it's fundamental to our national security. Donald Trump has a very strong personal relationship with President Xi, and he is the driver of the relationship between China and the United States. It's in Donald Trump's hands.
Right.
He knows how to play his hand, the best of anybody in the world. So this is just fundamental to America.
Understood.
We need to make our own chips.
Should we still anticipate then, or as this is all taking place, that there's still a meeting between the two leaders, in which we understand the president doesn't want to turn the temperature up maybe too high before that meeting. Maybe that's a chance to turn the temperature back down.
Yeah, so my understanding so far is that the president's planning to go to China in the month of April. That's been discussed broadly. And I think that's still on, and we're very excited about the prospects of the two leaders meeting and talking. They have an excellent relationship. They talk on the phone. They make sure they understand each other and that the outcomes are the best. Obviously, Donald Trump is focused on the best outcomes for the United States. That's why he makes each chess move that he makes is well considered, and it's been very impressive. I mean, look at our economy.
All right, so I want to jump in because I noticed a comment that came in, and somebody goes, he's hoping that the Supreme Court rules correctly on the tariffs. And if you understand the level of the game that these guys are playing, do you not realize that they have a back door? Everything goes on with the tariffs, fine. If it doesn't work, what's the back door? And you heard it tonight. You may not realize you heard the backdoor plan just in case the Supreme Court doesn't work. You see, if the tariffs go away, if the Supreme Court says you can't use the tariffs, they can't tell him you can't give Taiwan protection. You realize that. He said it, and it's a little bit of a backdoor because, hey, you committed $500 billion. Yeah, but you can't do tariffs. Well, we'll just pull out your protection and let China have its way with you. Oh. Gotcha. Pay up. As we're listening to these deals being put in place, and I'm sure you're going to hear some stuff with Davos, there is I guess you would call a poison pill. Just in case the tariffs don't happen, whatever leverage you had with the tariffs, that gets pulled out. But you still need us. Number one, the consumers. Number two, China's going to blow your ass up. Then you won't have anything. So our protection still matters. Not sure if you caught that when he said it and understand what they're doing to put I mean, they're building these deals with layers, and it's absolutely genius. And nobody's following along. He's telling them, yeah, we're going to be paying protection. What do you think the protection of Taiwan from China is worth to the people in Taiwan? Probably a lot. Probably a lot. What do you think protection is worth to the people in Greenland? Probably a lot. You see, as different superpowers start trying to do things, how can we offset in case the tariffs don't happen? I don't know, maybe get a gazillion gallons of oil from Venezuela, maybe just pluck Maduro out of there and put in who we want there, so that even if the tariffs don't work, it doesn't really matter there, we own the oil. And I don't think many people are following along. I don't think they're looking on the scorecard and go, what would happen if that tariff didn't work or this one didn't work? Okay, now you see right away the Taiwan tariff going away. All right, well, we're going to protect you.
I think we're going to grow over 5% in the first quarter of 2026. I mean, Donald Trump is delivering for the American people. He's delivering growth. He's delivering jobs. We're delivering exactly what he promised. And that's what's so fun about being part of his administration.
You think we'll get 5% growth? I mean, you're a former bond trader. You ran a bond investment company. 5% growth, that's a pretty big number, Mr. Secretary.
It's only a pretty big number when you compare it to recent history. See, that's one of the problems that people in the media are having, and even some Trump supporters. The comparison that people are using is that same old, well, that's how it's always been type thing. And you're not realizing the whole thing that's going on with Jerome Powell and everything else is because you have been kept suppressed. Notice when she talked about the real estate, she also gave you some insight there. She said the interest rates are coming down and people are buying, but the price still is going up. Why would the price, in addition to supply and demand, be still going up? Because people are making more money. If people are more prosperous, if people are making more money, then they become somewhat agnostic to an extra $10,000 or $20,000 price on a house. Trump knows this. If I can raise your income, all right, let me just remember, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. We're going to do this. We're going to get the illegals out of here. You're going to be able to work. You're going to have the overtime, all kinds of stuff. You're making more money. If you're making more money, then that gap between a price and your income begins to go like this. And now you can go after that $450,000 house when you couldn't down here. Nobody's taking that into account. The more you make, the more you can buy. And I don't know why Democrats, well, maybe they do know. They know it for themselves, but they don't like telling people. There's always two ways, basically, to reduce debt. Spend less or make more. And you know in your personal finances, if you have a credit card and your credit card balance is $1,000 a month and you spend $650 and you keep paying the minimum payment, you're going to pay it for 20 or 30 years. But if you can use the credit card and go, hey, let me just pay off that $600. I got it. The more they're going to raise your credit, the more you're going to be able to borrow, which means the more you're going to be able to pay. And so a lot of people don't look at things that way. They've been taught, what else have people been taught? Leverage is bad. Well, I don't know about you, but I remember back in Greek mythology, Archimedes. What was Archimedes' big quote? Dun, 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 dun. With a big enough lever, I can move the world. You've seen it. You've seen like the globe and the guy on the lever pulling. With a big enough lever, with big enough leverage, I can do anything. If the stick I have won't help me move that boulder, I'm screwed. But if I got a nice big stick now, oh yeah, I can buy that new car. I can buy that new house because I have more ability to use leverage. Sorry if I'm a little excited.
So if you think about it, for all those years, everybody always said the world grows like just below 2%, and the U.S. grows just above 2%. And we were sort of in that, this sort of boring world. Well, Donald Trump said, America is the greatest economy on earth, $30 trillion economy. And if we stop exporting all the power and letting everybody else sell to us while we can't sell to them, then that exports our economy and picks up the rest of the world.
See, that's what not enough people are understanding. They used us. We were basically corner hose. They did everything they can. Go work for 30, 40 years. Yeah, just get on that treadmill, pay your taxes. As you're now seeing, the money went everywhere. Just keep working. It'll get better. Oh, it might get 2% better. Oh, yeah, you might get a raise in 5 years. Just keep on that. Yeah, just keep doing it. And like you said, that's boring. I never wanted to do it. That's extremely boring. I'm going to work 40 or 50 hours, and no matter how much I work, I'm still going to get the same. That makes sense to anybody? Of course it does, because that's what we were taught. Get a job, work really hard, and then he'll retire in 30, 40 years and they'll give you a watch. Well, what if you understand this new economy and said, I'm going to make a lot more money and I'm going to use my time and what it's worth to keep generating more income. See, it's not about, I haven't even looked. I don't know if there's been some people in here yet who have talked about, the love of money. My gosh, every single thing in this room costs money. The roof over my head costs money. The microphone costs money. It's called currency for a reason. If you don't have enough currency, you can't get stuff. It's that simple. It's not that I love this microphone or these lights. I need them. I like them. This one and that one and the computer screens. I could have done with a smaller computer. I wanted it. It's not the love of money. It's satisfaction. It's convenience. It's security. Every single person, especially you ladies, you want security. Deep down, sometimes you probably thought, man, we went through some hard times. We're still going through hard times. I wish I knew we'd be okay. But President Trump's like, here, you can be okay. You can be broke alone. You can worry about money. You can worry about how things are. It's funny when people talk about the love of money, they don't talk about the worry part. See, they tell you the love of money is a sin, but they don't tell you that worry is a sin. Oh, go look that up. Worrying is a sin. Nobody ever talks about that side. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about my bill today. I don't know. Well, you're worrying. Why don't people take that to heart as much as they try to preach love of money? Because I wouldn't have love of money. I'm being provided and I'm not worrying anymore. I'm not going to get too, into the book. I just wanted to say that. I always want to say that to people. Do you worry about anything? Anything? Do you worry about how you're going to feed your family this week? Do you worry about how you're going to pay rent this month? Which worry would you rather have? Which Bible would you rather look at and say, yep, worrying is a sin. I am not going to worry because I know you put me here so I can enjoy this stuff that our president is providing.
We need to make America great. And what's he doing? He's cutting imports, expanding exports, and my prediction, over 5% in the first quarter of 2026 for the greatest economy in the world, having the greatest growth in the world, and you only get that by putting Donald Trump in the Oval Office.
Mr. Secretary, one problem on the market's mind that we're hearing about lately is the fact that it might be too strong. In other words, I don't know if you've seen this, JP Morgan is now calling for no more rate cuts this year and think we should get a rate hike next year. And Larry Lindsey, who I'm sure you're familiar with, has actually said the same thing, that Fed policy is a little accommodative right now.
You know why JP Morgan doesn't want rates to go down? Because they're in big poop because of silver. I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but there's a whole bunch of banks sitting on a whole bunch of fake paper silver. And that the more the silver goes up, the more they're short and have to actually buy. There's something like a shortage of 400 billion ounces. They're never going to make it up. This thing hits $100. You won't have to worry about JP Morgan saying anything. Find out what JP Morgan's position is with silver. You'll be amazed. And then you might want to move your money.
So, look, I don't know if we're ready for a moment in which the Fed chair might have to stand up and tell the president and the public, hey, things are going so well that we might have to hike rates at a time that the president's obviously been pushing quite hard on them to do the opposite.
So this is what the president talks about. He talks about if inflation is below 3%, right? It's running 2.7%, and we're growing. Why do rates have to be high? Why is this that if we're winning, the Fed should make us losers? And if we're losing, then the Fed should be winner. You know what that is? That's the definition of mediocrity. Donald Trump is here to make America great, and America can be great. Housing requires lower interest rates. You want to make things affordable? Bring interest rates down. So I think the economy can grow at low inflation, right? Our productivity is flying off the shelves. Americans are more productive.
All right, so she's even agree with him. Yes, it is. So how many of you knew that productivity at this point is off the charts? Nobody talks about it. This is the kind of stuff I really feel if people dig in, and I know it's very complicated, and they throw around so many terms, but if you started listening to these terms and understanding how to apply them in your own life, things will get better for you. I promise you, if you understand the strategies and the movements and everything that they're doing, it does apply on a level with us. You don't have to be a gazillionaire. You can almost know that's true because that's what Democrats keep saying. Oh, it's only for millionaires and billionaires, because they don't want you to even watch. Don't learn this stuff. They're trying to scare people away and say it's not for you. Funny. How did you make money, Liz Warren? How did you make money, Bernie? How did you make money, Ilhan Omar? How did you make money, AOC? Oh, that's not for you, though. It's bad. It's all hypocrisy. And the idiots don't look past the veil. Like, wait a minute, you're sitting on a huge, you had no money, and now you got like $30 million? How?
Now, more valuable than ever before.
They are.
And therefore, we're not seeing inflation, so we can have lower rates and we can have growth. I think we can have both. And with both, America will be the best, most amazing economy ever. We will include all Americans. It will be
We're quibbling over basis points here,
like Donald Trump says.
I think JP Morgan said 3.1 on core PCE. So I hear what you're saying. He said.
Okay, see what she just said, 3.1 on core? Look up what core means. Understand what part of the economy that is. Because, this woman is obviously educated. She works at CNBC. She knows. Most people have no idea what that means.
If it's below 3%, we can cut rates. And maybe they're saying 3.1% and we can't. We're close. We're close to that area where I think everyone agrees maybe 3% is still too high.
Well, everybody forgets about the fact that the Fed is running down their balance sheet. So they're tightening, right? Every month, the Fed doesn't buy bonds that they used to buy and sucks that money out of the economy. The Fed is by running off their balance sheet, is tightening. They've got plenty of room to cut rates. They've got the room to cut rates, and that's what Donald Trump talks about. Don't make it so when we're winning, the Fed thinks you got to be a loser. That's just not true. Donald Trump understands if there's not inflation, the greatest economy in the world, doesn't have to have the highest interest rates in the world.
So I heard somebody say, give me the analogy and what he just said. If everything's going good, why do you have to rein it in and stop it? Because basically what he's saying, what the Fed has done for years, is they manipulate the economy. Oh, things are too good. We don't want you to go, that good. Hey, too good. We need to take more of your money. And the analogy the guy gave me is, imagine you're in a traffic congestion on a highway and everybody's just going 35, 40, 50 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden you get past an exit and there's nobody in front of you. Are you still going to drive 35 or 40? Or are you going to hit the gas and go 65, 70, 90 miles an hour? Most of us are going to go, hey, man, there's nobody here. I'm hitting it. But then some people like, maybe I shouldn't go there. Maybe even though I'm past all the traffic, we should still go 35 or 40 miles an hour. And they don't understand there's no reason for it. Assuming that, the speed limit is 75 or 80. But if the speed limit is 75 or 80 and you're still sitting back at 35 and 40 because you're concerned about going faster, that is exactly what the Federal Reserve has done, because you're making too much money. Oh, no. We got to raise interest rates. We got to keep a handle on this. And that's what the entire Federal Reserve is about. It's about manipulating the economy so that things don't get too good, which is insane. And every single person like Howard and Trump, who guys have been into big finance, is like, why are you putting shackles on things? Why don't you let it run? That's the problem with the Fed.
It's ridiculous that we're in the 4s and everyone else in the world is in the 2s.
Do you have a preference on who the next chair of the Federal Reserve will be, Mr. Secretary?
My favorite part of this job is in the hands of Donald Trump. He's got great choices in front of him. I'm sure he's going to make the right choice. He gets my advice, but he's going to make the call.
I want to ask you just quickly again about Iran, because China is such a huge... Listen, markets are up today, by the way. Small caps up 1.5%. The S&P's up again. New record highs for small and mid caps. The markets just keep ripping. I'd love to get your take on anything with the markets or bonds, but also just to be clear, are you worried that this deal at all, or the potential tariff on Iran, is going to disrupt those China trade talks?
No. See, here's how the world looks at it. When America is shining, when the light of America is shining, the world's stock markets rally, right? All the experts said, if you put all these tariffs on the rest of the world, their stock market's going to be in trouble. They're all up. All of them are up, because they know when the shining light of America is bright and powerful, the world wins. Donald Trump is making sure America wins, and we're lifting the rest of the world with us. Go look at the rest of the world's stock markets. We're hitting new highs, and so is the rest of the world. Donald Trump is driving the right outcomes for this world, and we're doing the things that he wants to do. He promised we'd reshore semiconductors. We have to reshore semiconductors. This is fundamental to where America goes, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Last question. 10-year yield, 4.15. Again, going back to your bond. Listen, Mr. Secretary, we interviewed a ton when you were the bond guy. Now you're the Commerce Secretary. Put on your bond hat. Where should a mortgage be right now if you were in charge?
So mortgages, think about it. Mortgages just dropped below 6%, right? And the housing market had the best refi week in decades, and it had the most people visiting houses in decades when interest rates of mortgages dropped below 6%. Donald Trump said, let's go buy mortgages, drop the rate below 6%, and you immediately got demand. I think rates in the United States of America are coming down. They should be lower. It'll make housing more affordable. Bring rates down and watch America thrive and grow. We're at 5% now, and if you don't think we can be bigger, you're not listening to Donald Trump. We can.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Especially being in real estate. The more available capital that people will have, the cheaper amount of capital people will have, it only goes to spur the market. And I don't understand why so many people don't understand that. If you can get cheaper mortgages, if people can buy more house with less money, that's always the key. Hey, listen, I just don't want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. I want a 4-bedroom. You can't afford it. Because as I showed you at the beginning of this, that just where they are now, it's going to save you $200 to $250 a month on that theoretical mortgage. That's what already happened. That's basically a 10% drop in how much you're going to have to pay for a home. She said you could spend the money on other things like, your car or whatever. What if you wanted to spend more on your house? What if instead of buying a $450,000 house because you thought it was going to cost you $2,400 a month, now at $2,175, I think she said, what if I bought a $475,000 house and I'm still below $2,400 a month because the interest rates go down further? That was based on today's rates. The rates go down some more, and I'm like, well, it's still going to be 21. Yeah, I can do that, but now I can buy a $480,000 house. That's how it's supposed to work. I'm sorry for spending, well, no, I'm not sorry. I mean, I like talking about the economy. I like talking about what President Trump is doing. I think it's extremely, extremely important for us to understand because nobody else is talking about it. And there's so many people afraid of it. I mean, I saw somebody in the chat said they're afraid of gold and silver. I don't know what to do with that. When the woman or man who said, I am afraid of gold and silver, yet I guarantee you that person has money in the bank in a CD or something. They're not afraid of that. They're not afraid of money sitting in a bank doing nothing at 3%, but they're afraid of that. Make that make sense. I'll make it make sense for you. It's because it's unknown. When you see people recoil, it's because it's uncomfortable. They've never been taught it. They've never educated themselves on it. And the entire thing that needs to happen is, as I've been saying, people need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because that's how you grow. There is no growth if it's comfortable. You have to step out of a shell at some point and say, well, yeah, I remember Barry holding this thing up when it was $25. This 1 ounce of silver right here. I remember holding this up a year ago and this was like 25 or 26 bucks. And now this thing is $90. This one thing. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I had to tell Robin, I think this could work. I think there's going to be a demand for it. And what's the worst that could possibly happen? Well, we'd still have this for 25. The reason people are uncomfortable is because of the unknown. Nobody's talked like this. In fact, this is the first president and first administration who has these kind of conversations with us. You didn't hear this from Biden. There's no concept that these guys could talk to you about this. And so you've never heard it. Now you're hearing it, and it's like, well, I don't even know what they're saying. Exactly. I'll be back in 90 seconds. I'm not chastising anybody, not trying to, embarrass anybody, but the reason you feel the way you do is because you don't know what they're talking about. And nobody's out there showing you and trying to help you. Well, one guy is. I'll be right back.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I'm going to jump to the hockey thing. I wanted to stop because there's a lot of people asking questions about gold and silver. Well, Monday, make sure you tune in. Kevin from Lear Capital will be here. He's probably the guy that educated me the most about this. And so get your questions ready. I'm going to put up a page where you can put your question in advance, but he'll be here on Monday. So let's listen to President Trump and watch him with world champion Florida Panthers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, accompanied by Vincent Viola, owner of the Florida Panthers, and Matthew Tkachuk.
What a team, what a great job. What a great job. Please sit down. I've spent a little time doing this because I watched some of those games and these guys know how to win, just like we knew how to win last week. We had a little victory. It was surgical, just like their victory, right, Duffy? It's an honor to welcome to the White House the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. Unbelievable team, unbelievable athletes, players. These men are responsible for the greatest feats in Panthers franchise history, and beyond that. You compare them to some of the greatest hockey teams ever, including the first ever President's Trophy, 3 straight final appearances, and the one that you didn't make. What the hell happened to you? You should have won that game. But it was good to do the little comeback, right? Comebacks are wonderful, actually. But the 3 is pretty good, right, Gary? And an incredible 2 straight Stanley Cup victories. And I just want to congratulate the unbelievable players. They have something different. Because I watched some of the games that it looked like it was going to be tough, and you pulled them out. You pulled them out for years. Well, Vinny's a winner, so you learn from the owner, I guess. And it's an honor to have Vinny with us. Thank you very much. He's going to speak in a couple of minutes. I always like to hear him speak because you never know what the hell's going to come out of his mouth. Where is he? You never know with Vinny, but boy, you've done a job here, huh? You and your people. Your reps have been amazing. So we're grateful to be joined this afternoon by team owner Vinny Viola. And as you know, our general manager, Bill Zito, is fantastic, one of the greatest NHL head coaches of all time. Coach Paul Maurice. Where's Paul? Where's Paul? Boy, I'll tell you, I hope they're taking good care of you. Good care. That's a hell of a coach. Great coach. We're also pleased to be joined by NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Great job. I remember a long time ago when you got that job, and I said they picked the right guy. You know that. And you've really shown it, as well as Attorney General Pam Bondi, wherever Pam is. Pam. Hi, Pam. She's doing great. She's a special person. And Secretaries Doug Burgum, Sean Duffy, and Chris Wright, who I hear has a birthday today. Is your birthday? What are you, about 32? You look so young. And you're doing great. You know, Doug Burgum said he's the greatest oil man in the world. I wanted Doug for the job. He said, no, there's one man better. He would only say one man. That's not, because he's a very unusual guy. But he said, Chris Wright, and we are now drilling more oil than any time, any country ever in history, right? And oil prices in many states are down to $1.99 a gallon. That's like a major tax cut, right, Catherine? That's like a major tax cut. So what we did is we gave Doug which he probably liked better because he likes real estate. He's the biggest real estate person in history. He has the Department of the Interior. So he drills and he owns the land. And the combination's been lethal, right? And they've been great, and I appreciate it too. We're also here with FBI Director Kash Patel, who's a person that loves sports, right? Kash, you love the sports, and we love you. And Representatives Randy Fine. Randy, you did a great job the other day. You did a great job the other day. You know what I'm talking about. You got up there. Let them have it. Jimmy Petronas. Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Good job. John Rutherford. John. Thank you. Thank you, John. And Michael Haradopoulos. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. So after a shortened off-season and a regular season plagued by injuries, the Florida Panthers entered the 2025 playoffs with extraordinary pressure to defend the title, but they also had an amazing aura about them. It was called the aura of winning. There's something nice about it. And that's what they did. But not only did you live up to the sky-high expectations, you gave us perhaps the most dominant playoff run in NHL history. The Panthers scored 94 goals in the playoffs, more than any team in a generation. You won a record 10 times on the road. It was, nobody's ever done that one before. You led the finals for over 255 minutes, the most of any team in NHL history. And you denied Canada the Stanley Cup for the 32nd straight year by... I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, Matthew? We have a little competition with Canada. No, they're great people, though. They're great people. We're doing much better than Canada, but that's okay, right? We want them to do well, and they're going to do well. But 32nd straight year by defeating the Edmonton Oilers for the second year in a row, and they have a couple of really great players in that team, and they have a superstar, still a superstar, right? How's he feeling about this game? You can't lose, you got to win, right? You going to explain it? Huh? But boy, I'll tell you, that was some game. On offense, no one was better than the man the Edmonton Journal named public enemy #1 star forward, Sam Bennett. Where's Sam Bennett? He's got a very powerful hand. He's a strong guy. Sam scored 15 playoff goals and earned the coveted Conn Smythe Trophy, making him the first skater in Panthers history to be named tournament MVP. That's fantastic on Sam. And perhaps the greatest single game performance goes to Sam Reinhart. Where's Sam Reinhart? Who became the first player in 103 years to score 4 goals at a Stanley Cup clinching win, and that's 4 goals. So they say hat trick, but what do they call 4 goals? They don't do it because nobody ever does it, right? How many people? I've never heard of 4 goals in one game. I hear of a hat trick, but so did they have a nickname for that one? I don't know. Just you know what it's called? 4 goals. That's all you don't need a nickname. On the defensive side, legendary goalie, he's great. Sergei Bobrovsky, also known as Bob. Well, that's that's a good concept. That was a good idea. Notched 3 shutouts in each of the first 3 series, including a key game, #4. Shutout against Toronto in the second round. Played phenomenal hockey. Longtime Panther blue liner Aaron Ekblad led his fellow defenseman with a career-high 13-point scores, 19 playoff games, and that's close to another record. And team captain Alexander Barkov, known as Barky, was named the best defensive forward in the league for the 3rd time in the 2nd straight year. Much credit. Where's Barky? Where are those 2 guys? Good-looking people, young, beautiful people. I hate them. You hate standing here with all this power behind you. But I got power, too. It's called the United States military. I don't care. At 37 years old, Brad Marchand recorded 10 assists and 10 goals in the playoffs, including the clutch double overtime winner in Game 2 of the finals. And no skater had more ice time in the playoffs than Seth Jones, who was the workhorse on both sides of the puck. As we know, Seth will be representing America in the Milan Winter Olympics next month, alongside fellow Florida Panther Matthew Tkachuk, who's fantastic. I remember his father was very good. I don't know. I said, did you top his father? He said, well, my father had 500 and some odd goals. How many did you say? How many? A lot of goals. I said, well, he says he ain't, but you will be. And your father would want you to be, because I know your father. He would want you to be. It's fantastic. You don't see that too often. We have a father who's great and a son who's great. You don't see it very often, but this is a case where you do. And say hello to your father for me, Matthew, okay? But he throws a big punch. I can see that. Is he a pretty tough cookie? Is he tough? They say he throws the big punch. How many people can take him in a fight? There are only a couple of heads. He says most of them. I don't know about that. Also joining them on Team USA staff will be Bill Zito and Panthers equipment manager Teddy Richards. That's great. That's great. Congratulations. Congratulations. And we're counting on you to bring home the gold. You know, I got the Olympics, and we got it brought to a very special place. We have the big Olympics coming up very soon, and we have the World Cup coming, and we have the 250th year coming. So, you know, when I got rigged, when you had a rigged election, I was really angry about it. Then I realized if I win the next time, I pick up the Olympics, the World Cup, and the 250. And I said, you know what, Pam? I said, this is a good thing. It's better than it would have been, actually. So it's pretty good. Amazing the way things can work out, right? But I just wanted to say a very special congratulations. And I'm going to bring them down to the Oval Office we did last time. And sometimes if I really like a team, I bring them to the Oval Office and we do some fun. We give them a little special, we give them a coin, a very special coin, the best coin there is. And we have a little fun, but we're gonna march on down. We're gonna pass the Presidential Wall of Fame. So I had a choice, Walk of Fame or Wall of Fame. And you know what I decided, right? I said walk, because I think of the Walk of Shame. And I said this was an interesting situation. So I said, that was the one reason I didn't want to do that, because I said people are going to think about that, but I said I'll do it anyway. But we have the Presidential Walk of Fame, and you'll get to see it. It's been quite an attraction for the White House. But I just want to congratulate everybody. These are special people, very, very hard to win, especially at the top level of sports, and this is the top level. And it's an honor to have these guys with us. You know, it's I want my people to win. We have such incredible people, so many here, congressmen, senators, and cabinet members, and they've really produced. They're producing like we're having a year, the likes of which really so far there's no comparison to any other first year for an administration. We have the tremendous crime numbers just came out. Did you see? The lowest crime ever recorded. Now, you wouldn't see that when you see what's going on, but when you see what's going on in Minnesota, we're taking out some of the worst criminals in the world are being taken out of our country. Murderers, drug dealers, some of the worst in the world. We have the lowest crime with best crime numbers we've ever had. And we have something else that's very special. We have 18 trillion. This is Vinny. Vinny had understand this better than maybe anybody in the room. $18 trillion worth of investment in the United States, which is bigger than any number. Bigger than any number. And we have today for the 49th time in 11 months, here a little more than 11 months, for the 48th day, we have the highest stock market in history. So that's pretty good. That makes you feel good because I know you have a couple of stocks. It makes everybody feel good because 401ks are the highest point they've ever been. Everybody's happy, and we're doing a job, and they're doing a job. So I'd like to ask Vinny to say a few words, and then Matthew to say a few words, and then we'll figure it out. I heard they have a little surprise. Ooh, that looks nice. I hope it's the stick and not just the shirt. That stick looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. Maybe I get both. Who the hell knows? I'm president. I'll just take them. But then we do have that little surprise, and I want to thank you all very much for being here. Very special. Vinny, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, it really humbles me to be in your presence, and the kindness you've showed me, my organization, from a very long time ago, it's not lost on us. But the privilege to be at the White House with you while you're present is extra special. I'm going to make it pretty clear that we are honored to be here, and we're honored to be here with you as the president. You talked about the Olympians. I think we're right up there having the most Olympic players as much as any other team in the NHL. There are 10 Olympians behind me from, I think, 4 or 5 countries. It's a great testimony to a wonderful sport that really is a global sport. I speak on behalf of every Florida Panther fan all over the world. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. Thank you, Mr. President. Matthew would like to say a few words, and the players are super excited about the gifts that they've selected for you. I think I'm more excited, actually. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Well, I mean, the 2 cups was pretty good, but that walk with you might have trumped it all there. That was pretty amazing. No, I just want to say on behalf of the whole organization and mainly the players, we are so honored to be here, being an American. I know I said it last year, but I mean, nothing beats this. I'm so proud to be an American and so proud to be here with you and everybody else. So, but like I said last year, winning, it takes a toll. You pay a price for it. And each one of these members behind me, like, it really does take a village to make it happen. And each person played a very, very important part in it. And coming down to Florida, thanks to Vinny Viola and Bill Zito, has really changed my life. And I cannot believe that 3 years later we have 2 Stanley Cups. And like Vinny said, we are not stopping now, and we hope to be here next year. So that's the plan. And, you know, representing you and the millions back here next month in the Olympics will be one of the highlights of my life as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
We do have a few gifts to give you, so I'd like to call down Captain Sasha Barkov and then Seth Jones, and I think you're going to like the one that Seth gets you the most.
Did you hear him? Good for slashing. Come on, Vinny.
So cool, because you know President Trump really, really loves this sports stuff. I mean, he absolutely loves it. Some of you may not know, but Vinny Viola, the owner of the Florida Panthers, guy's worth like $6 or $7 billion. And what's interesting about him is that you may not know this. He was originally nominated by President Trump to be the secretary or director of the Army. He's a West Point graduate, and he is the son of a legal Italian immigrant, and he just worked his way and got into things, and the guy's worth, like I said, about $6 billion. And it's just it's a great story if you ever want to look at his story. All right, so we're going to jump over to Rumble in a little bit. Let me go ahead and get that, because I'm going to show you Nick Shirley's video. I can show these kind of things at night because, yeah, but the way he talks to some of these Somalians and stuff, people might get a little ticked off here. So I got to do that over on Rumble. And I just checked while President Trump was talking. Rumble is indeed working. So let me do super chats. And then once I do the super chats, and then I'm going to run the break music. I don't have any songs tonight, just some break music. And then we'll be back up over on Rumble only. All right. So let's see here. Where am I? Go do this, make sure things are where they're supposed to be. And there we go. All right. So Pekovsky, tariffs. You got that right. Tariffs, baby. Buddy Sanders, my parents bought their home in 1962. I remember how excited they were. Bingo. Brianna Newland, the winning keeps on going like the Energizer Buzzy. This is huge. Yes, absolutely. 500 billion, I think you're talking about. Chiosop, this is what happens when a group of intelligent minds get together and are led by a great leader. Great things happen for everyone. America is back. It is. It absolutely is. Are we jumping over tonight? Yep. There you go right there. You're going to go to fanfareshop.org/rumble. All you have to do is just put that in the window. Hulk, Tom Homan, who? Tom Homan is, I guess you meant Homan. Tom Homan is supposed to meet with Trump tomorrow about invoking the Insurrection Act. Yes. So before we jump over, let me go ahead and show this to you. He appeared on, what's her name? Laura Ingraham's show tonight. And this is what he said.
Is it time for the Insurrection Act, or would that just add gasoline to the fire?
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that, but it's certainly an option, a viable option. So actually, I'll be meeting with the president tomorrow. So, you know, I think it's something that needs to be on the table because this cannot continue. There is going to be more bloodshed. I'm telling you. I hope I'm wrong, but I haven't been yet. There's going to be more bloodshed if something hasn't done.
It's going to spread, and most Minnesotans, by the way, and I want to say this tonight because folks have reached out to me, support ICE. It's this radical group of anarchists, and when you see them close up, you really get a sense of who they are. It's this crowd, a lot of them paid, a lot of them working, double shifts of protest against the rest of the state, which are reasonable, common sense, peaceful people of all backgrounds, including immigrant backgrounds. They don't like what's happened in the Twin Cities, and we're going to expose more about Jacob Fry in a moment. But Tom, I think most people are good people. They want the bad people out, and they want some peace in their neighborhoods.
And we're going to get the bad people out. And as far as the organization, everybody that's planning these protests, giving these people weapons and funding this, again, justice is coming because we're deep diving that whole thing.